Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Business Health Check webinar. My name is Matthew Doherty, and I'm one of the Protection Sales Managers here at Royal London. And today, Shelley Reid, our Senior Intermediary Development Manager, will show you how to analyse your protection business with the help of Royal London's Insight report. Now, Shelley will be taking you through what we call our DQM report, which provides bespoke and personalised insight into your protection business and key performance indicators. This report will take a detailed look at the MI on a variety of different protection business metrics, and feedback from advisors that are already using this report suggests that shining a spotlight on these metrics can not only help them with managing risk within their business, but also supports them with identifying new opportunities to increase revenue and profitability. So just before we begin, I'm going to mention some quick housekeeping. So please feel free to ask any questions that you like throughout the webinar, and this can be done by typing them into the questions box on the right-hand side of the screen. And what we'll do at the end of the session is we'll try our best to get through as many of these as we can, but if we do run out of time, then your Royal London account manager or support contact will be in contact with you after the session. So the webinar today will last approximately about 45 minutes, and your CPD certificates will be issued shortly after the session. So for now, I'm going to pass over to you, Shelley, and I hope that you enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Matt, and a warm welcome from me. As Matt said, I'm Shelley Reid and I'm Senior Intermediary Protection and Development Manager here at Royal London. So without further ado, let's start our presentation this morning. So today's presentation will run for about 35 minutes, and we really want you to have the best webinar experience. So should you have any sound or viewing issues, then please contact the GoToWebinar support team using the normal link in your viewer. So you may be wondering exactly what the Royal London Business Health Check is. Well, it's a bespoke report aimed to help advisor firms just like yours evaluate if their business is performing at its very best. The data and MI produced in these reports will allow you to understand any risks and also any opportunities to your business. And as I'm sure you're aware, at Royal London, we focus on the intermediary market, and this is something that we can give back to you. So it wouldn't be a protection learning event without some learning objectives, and here are ours for today's webinar. So by the end of this session, we hope you should be confident in assessing the data and MI that will allow you to understand the risks and opportunities to your business, and to be able to analyse your business activity to help mitigate risk and increase revenue. And to help us achieve those, we have a packed agenda. We'll look at identifying key business drivers. Then we'll look through the lens of an advisor. We don't want you to just take our word for it. So we've asked one of our protection advisors, Emma, to share with you how her personalised report has helped change and shape her business. And then we'll look at send to client and how this could save you valuable time to have those important protection conversations and generally make the application process even easier for you and your clients. So let's get started by taking a look at identifying your key business drivers. Our bespoke insight report will identify areas that we can work on together if needed, concentrating on any areas of opportunity or any key risks to get not only the very best for your client, but also the best outcome for your advisor firm too. We will look a little closer over the next half an hour or so, but the type of report will give you information that can protect you and your business, such as types of product written. We can celebrate what's going well. We'll look to maximise any opportunities to increase revenue. And it will also look at profitability. Is your firm working in a way that maximises its efficiency and profit? And most importantly, I think, identify any potential risk areas so you can act swiftly to address these and mitigate any key risks to your business. So if we take a look at a typical multi-advisor firm, how could a business health check help them? Well, it could provide invaluable data and information to Shauna and Martin, the principals. It can provide information as to what type of business is being written. It can look at lapse rates, claim statistics. It can look if business is being written using multi-benefit solutions, information re client engagement, and also disclosures. And all of this information drilled down to individual advisor data. It could highlight any risks, but for many firms, it serves to demonstrate any gaps in knowledge or highlight any training requirements. So let's take a closer look at the detail of the report, and in doing so, we will keep coming back to these three business areas. They are revenue, risk, and profitability. So we want to help you recognise any opportunities, any subject areas that require training or untapped protection areas to help maximise revenue to your firm. Driving new business and clearly acquiring new clients is important for any business, but just getting a new client through the door is really only the start of the journey. We understand from mortgage advisor firms how busy they are, and the protection solution that's put in place is often just to protect that mortgage lump sum. But we know that taking the time to talk about other areas such as critical illness, income protection, or family income benefit over and above the mortgage protection is absolutely vital. But increasing sales is really only one part of it, and clearly increasing profitability is vital. So as far as profitability is concerned, we want to make sure that the business your firm writes is done in the most efficient and profitable way. Our health check report can help businesses understand some key metrics in this area that might be impacting their profitability, maybe such as things like lapse rates and NTU rates. Those are cases that aren't taken up. But in doing this, we want to acknowledge and measure any areas that could be a risk to your company's success. Our health check can spot any red flags early, such as disclosures, and make sure that we can act on those. So let's start by looking at one of the pages from the actual report and have a look what's included. Now, this graph on the left-hand side is looking at weekly application volumes. The orange line is the number of policies, and the dark purple is the number of covers within that policy. So this company are doing really well. This suggests to me good support of menu plans, since the number of covers is nearly always higher than the number of policies. From a risk point of view here, there is reduced risk, as by using the menu solution, the number of single policy plans is low, and the likelihood of advice on areas such as kick, income protection, and family income benefit seem to be much higher. But we can look at this further in just a little while. From a revenue point of view, menu plans should attract higher premiums, and looking at retention, multi-benefit policies often have much lower lapse rates. So this looks really good for our first example. So now let's look at product mix. If you would look at the two tables at the right-hand side of our screen, you can see data from the most recent month and also the last 12 months. It shows us the product mix between life only, critical illness, income protection, and whole of life. So it looks like this advisor firm have a good split of life and critical illness covers. But you can also see at 3% and 4%, barely any income protection advice, and not so much of a problem, but no whole of life advice at all. So what could this mean for our advisor firm? Well, there is certainly a risk in seemingly no protection conversations about needing to take time off work through sickness or injury, or none that result in the client buying income protection anyway. It's certainly worth questioning, could we help the advisors with training and coaching to help them have compelling income protection conversations? Could we demonstrate how the content and reports on the Royal London Marketing Studio within our advisor site could really help them? Or could we discuss our claim stats to demonstrate how clients successfully claim on their income protection policies? And finally, from a revenue perspective, could there be missed streams here, such as income protection and whole of life? And if the advisor doesn't want to pursue these areas, can they signpost to another advisor, further boosting income and, more importantly, reducing any risk in the future to this business? And again, let's remember that multi-benefit policies generally have lower lapse rate to help with business retention. So now let's look at lapse profiles. You can see here our company's overall lapse rate in the last 3 years versus the sector average. And what this tells us is that with a percentage of 7 and 10% versus sector average of 10% and 9%, as far as risk is concerned, there are no lapse rate concerns here, and clients and their families are remaining protected. From a revenue point of view, policies are staying on risk, so again, very little likelihood of clawback risk. From a retention perspective, it seems clients understand the importance and value of their protection policies, and this will offer ongoing review opportunities, possibly helping further revenue streams at the same time. Had we witnessed high lapse rates here, again, could we at Royal London help the advisors position protection and have more compelling conversations to demonstrate the importance of protecting their home, their family, and their lifestyle, further engaging the client? So moving on to client confirmation. This is the Royal London process in which we ask clients to confirm that their personal and medical information has been inputted correctly. If I can ask you to look at the graph on the right-hand side, let's consider the dark purple lines first. The full dark purple line at the top shows this company's success at getting their clients to confirm these details, and it's way above the dotted purple line, which is the average. If we look at the teal coloured lines next, this is the percentage of confirmations that tell us about a change in the original information. Now, it could be that the client didn't originally disclose everything to the advisor, but nevertheless, it is still much higher than the average. In fact, it is almost double. And then if we look at the grey lines, these demonstrate the percentage of client confirmation returns where the change was actually serious. And this means it could affect underwriting decisions or premium, and obviously could then pose a risk to the client. So looking at risk for this company, the high rate of both low risk and high risk changes being made could create a non-disclosure problem on claim, and there's a real chance that further underwriting would have been needed. On a good note, clients appear to be really engaged and understand the importance of their policy by the number of confirmation slips we're getting returned. But with extra serious disclosures, it could result in a higher amended premium for clients, which in turn may mean that the client decides not to proceed. So again, how can we help advisors with this? Well, let's just park this for a moment and I'll revisit with a suggested solution in just a few minutes. So this graph now shows us the percentage of policies not taken up or cancelled from inception, including cool-offs. So to me, it looks as if our advisor firm have already been doing some work on this over the last 12 months. And you can see the early cancellation rate has dropped well below the average line. So very low risk of their clients having no protection in place if something terrible happens. Our firm gets paid for their hard work and little occurrence of clawback. And reduction in number of policies not proceeding demonstrates that clients are brought in and engaged and understand the importance. So I think it's a really interesting part of the report that we're looking at now. This data tells us the percentage of cases where Royal London give immediate decisions. Again, this company's data shows that they're running significantly above our expected rate. Now, it could be that their clients are in their early 20s with no health issues, but no, for most firms, that's really unlikely, isn't it? So this could be a high risk to the firm. Are all the underwriting questions being asked in full? And remember, this could link back to our previous slide where many returns had extra medical disclosures. And as far as revenue, initially this is looking good as providers will remunerate advisors. But is there a high probability of lapse occurring? And as a result of premiums, if the premiums change, could this adversely affect the client-advisor relationship and confidence? Well, we think that's a big possibility. These heat maps demonstrate the age and term concentration for life, critical illness, and then income protection and whole of life. I know that this is a mortgage and protection firm, so it looks about right with the majority of clients sitting in the mortgage holder age group. And the same here, but again, it particularly highlights the lack of income protection policies set up. So as we get towards the end of the main things I wanted to show you on these reports, this chart could be particularly useful for a principal of a multi-advisor firm. The Royal London Health Check can give you a profile of advisors within their business. And you can see here that while Trish and David have a below average lapse rate, Colin's 29% year one rate is some cause for concern, most definitely. So this would enable the principal or manager to delve further, to find out why, and possibly with our help, put some training in place and monitor the situation going forward. And ongoing, we could review this every month with the principals. And finally, when looking at these reports, this summary page means an advisor firm can easily see what's going well and any areas that need some attention to eradicate any risks to the company. So this is available monthly to firms supporting Royal London with a minimum of 30 protection applications per year. We really don't want this to be a monthly statement of numbers and graphs. It's not a scorecard or a points game. Fundamentally, it's about driving conversations with principals to help understand what might be going on in their business as we provide this insight. So I hope you have found this report and the quick run through I've done interesting. And if you would like Royal London to arrange your own bespoke insight reports, it's as easy as getting in touch with your usual Royal London contact. But don't just take my word on the effectiveness of these reports. Let's listen now to one of our protection advisors, Emma, at Protect My Bubble, and she's used her personalised data to change and shape her business.
I always want to make sure that the customer has a great journey. We never sell there and then. I don't believe in it. I'd rather have a chat with the client, get to know them, take some information on their needs as a family, and then go away, send them various different options, and then they can understand it more. They get to come back and ask questions. We can change it and tweak it to suit their affordability and needs. And really, we found that as a company, by doing that and taking our time with our clients, they understand it more, and they don't cancel because they know that they've got the right products. They understand what they've got. So yeah, it's really important as a customer service side to me. Lots of different ways, really. It's just being personal, and that's what the feedback that we've got from our clients this year is, that by being personal, being approachable, and giving them the simple terms about insurance and making it easy for them to understand. There's no jargon, there's no complicated conversations. It's just, this is what we can offer you, this is what you guys need as a family. And it's just building that trust with them, really, getting to know them, talk about the kids, where they've been that weekend, you know, just having that bit of banter with your clients as well. I think it's important, and they need that, because it's a tough conversation, isn't it, speaking about insurance? So yeah, just be real, be yourself, and give clients examples, so they understand it and they feel more relaxed home. And I just find it really interesting. And you know, compared to last year's stats, they're just so different, and that shows how the business has changed this year as well. So I noticed that we needed to have improvements at the end of last year. So in January, I actually started coming back and doing the selling myself. I did used to have 2 advisors who did that for me. We noticed areas that needed improving on, and I always look to explain to clients that how the different terms we've got, the different products, the different sums assured, the different clientele, occupations, and how we've improved in a company as well with the life and critical illness that we're offering. We do need to do more in protection. That's something that was highlighted on the report, and we know that. And business mix as well, and that's something that we've started moving into later this year, and having the relevant life and things like that as well. So yeah, working with you guys, it's just shown us how we could improve the business even more. Obviously the report was great, and we was really chuffed with that. But no, I just think it's great. It shows the NTU rates, which again we was just absolutely chuffed with. Compared to last year, has been a massive improvement. And I don't know, yeah, it has helped us going through it. It was really good to understand it and know how you guys actually look at us as a company as well. And that you were happy with everything that we've done. Yeah, I think it's for us, the main things were the persistencies and how they've improved on the agencies. I think just looking at it, I started crying because I was just so blown away by how we've managed to turn it around this year. And we did have a difficult year at the end of last year, which you guys know about, but we've got through it. We really have. And just with me just selling now, it's just made a difference to my business. So yeah, you can clearly see from the report that we're in the right place now as a business, and what we're doing is right for our clients and also right for us and you guys as a provider as well. Yeah, for us it's increasing income protection and business insurance. Now that we have it right with our clients for the life and critical illness and everything else, we have that campaign that's going out and starting to educate clients more about income protection and what's right for them, and giving them the different variations of options and affordability. So yeah, that'll change for us next year.
Huge thank you to Emma for sharing her insight on the personalised data, how it changed and shaped her business. So I mentioned earlier a resource available on every application submitted to Royal London that may help advisors in collecting personal and medical data and really trying to avoid any non-disclosure issues. Well, it's called Send to Client. Let me show you a short clip to explain how this works.
Our Send to Client feature makes the application process even easier for you and your clients. After entering some basic information, you have the option to send an application to your client to complete their medical details. This feature can be activated at any stage, so you can partially complete sections first, or send the full question set to your client. Your client will receive an email from us and will be asked to log on securely using their name and date of birth. They can complete their details in privacy at a time and place that suits them. And joint lives are sent separate links, making the process even quicker. Our Send to Client tracker gives you full visibility, and you can access an application at any time. You can see whether your client has accessed an application since you sent it, how many sections have been completed. You can even click in to view it, so if your client is stuck, you can help. And you can view the progress of individual lives. Once your client has completed their information, the application is returned to you, making sure you maintain complete control. And it is you we will give our final decision to, so you can relay this to your client. We won't ask for GP or bank details until you and your client have decided to go ahead, and we know that these are needed. It's you that will then complete these final details before sending the completed application to us. So you're in the driving seat every step of the way. It really is that simple.
I hope you'll agree that this Royal London Centre client feature makes the process even easier for both you and your clients. But not only that, I think it will potentially free up some time to have those engaging and compelling protection conversations about the things that can really hurt your client and their families. So that brings me to the end of our webinar today. I'm confident our learning objectives have now become outcomes, in that you will be confident in accessing the data and MI that will allow you to understand those risks and opportunities to your business and be able to analyse your business's activity to help both mitigate risk and increase revenue and profitability. Now, here is our advisor website address where you can find much more information and support. And finally, a huge thank you to Emma for sharing her very positive experience in analysing her company's health check report. And of course, to all of you for taking the time to listen today. Thank you very much. I'll hand back to Matt now to see if we have any questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Shelley. That was an excellent presentation, so thanks for putting that together. I can see that we do have some questions coming through, so what I'll do is I'll attempt to pick up perhaps 2 or 3 of these, and I'll see what I can do with the answers. So the first question that I can see coming through is, what can I do to make sure a client is answering the application questions accurately up front? It's a great question, and I think it's definitely one that's really important. I think the first thing to probably consider is, how are you positioning the importance of accurate client disclosures at the outset? And I suppose, how are you positioning the fact that this is crucial when it comes to paying out claims, which is the most important thing, obviously, for everyone, and in particular your client. Obviously, at Royal London, we want to pay out as many claims as possible. So I think it's really important that any client information that is provided at outset is as accurate as possible when it comes to the application stage. I suppose another thing just to highlight as well, and Shelley's just covered a slide on it during the presentation, is that we have the Centre Client option available, because I think we also appreciate that some clients might not always want to go through the application questions with yourself present. They might feel uncomfortable about talking about certain medical disclosures or medical conditions. So this is where the Centre Client solution can really come into its own, because it puts the ball in the client's court. The second question I can see coming through is around the online confirmation form. So is it a good thing? Is it not a good thing that clients are making changes on the client confirmation form? This means that the form is working. Again, another good question, so thank you for sending it in. Firstly, it's definitely a good thing that the clients are making any required changes by completing the client confirmation form, because the number one reason for that is that it minimises any risk of any potential non-disclosure, and again, that the policy will pay out in the event of a claim. Obviously, the ideal scenario is that we would receive all of the full and accurate disclosures up front at application stage when it's submitted from you. And we do have a lot of advisors and businesses that have a strong performance in that metric. So again, another great question. Just conscious of time, so the final question I'll pick up, and it's I suppose it's a mixture of feedback and a question. So this looks really interesting. I would be keen to see the MI for my own firm. Can someone contact me to discuss this information? So yeah, absolutely, and that's some really good feedback, and I'm glad that you found the session valuable. Of course, what we'll do is your Royal London account manager, BDM, or your support contact will be in contact with you after this webinar. So feel free to obviously ask them any questions that you have, or we'll be able to provide you with the MI that you're after. So I hope that helps. So I think that's probably all we've got time for this morning, guys. So thank you again for joining us this morning, and I hope that you found the session useful. Any of the other questions that have come through, as I said, we'll look to pick up through future follow-up sessions with yourself. As I mentioned at the start of the call, your CPD certificates will be issued after the session, along with a copy of the slides that you've seen today. And what we'll also be doing is sending out a survey after the session, and we'd really appreciate you just taking a couple of minutes to provide any feedback that you can, because what it does is it allows us to shape any future webinars and really just allows us to support you and your businesses as best we can. If you do have any other further questions, feel free to let us know and your Royal London account manager know, and we'll be delighted to support you. So that's us, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks very much.
Thank you.